Have you ever heard of a U.S. president who turned the White House into a personal gym? A man who was a Harvard boxing champion, a voracious reader, and an Amazon explorer all rolled into one? This isn't a character from an action movie. This is the incredible true story of Theodore Roosevelt, the 26th President of the United States. It's hard to imagine, but this larger-than-life figure started out as a frail, asthmatic child. He was told to live a quiet, careful life, but quiet and careful were two words that simply were not in Theodore Roosevelt's vocabulary. He decided to fight back against his own physical limitations. He took up boxing, weightlifting, and gymnastics with a relentless determination that would define his entire life. He pushed his body to its absolute limits, transforming himself from a sickly boy into a powerhouse of a man. This wasn't just about getting strong, it was about building a will of iron. He called it the strenuous life, and he lived it every single day. By the time he got to Harvard, his transformation was complete. He didn't just participate in boxing, he dominated it, becoming the university's lightweight boxing champion. This was the first of many instances where Roosevelt would shatter expectations and prove that with enough grit and determination, you could literally remake yourself. It's a powerful lesson, isn't it? That our beginnings don't have to define our endings. Roosevelt's journey from a fragile child to a collegiate champion is a testament to the power of the human spirit. And this energy didn't fade when he entered politics. In fact, it only intensified. When he became president, he brought that same strenuous life philosophy right into the White House. He saw the presidency not as a sedentary desk job, but as a platform for action in every sense of the word. The White House, under his leadership, became a hub of physical activity. Can you picture it? He would regularly host boxing matches, not in some back room, but right there in the halls of the most famous house in America. He would spar with professional boxers, friends, and anyone brave enough to step into the ring with the commander-in-chief. His athletic pursuits weren't just for show, they were a core part of his diplomacy and his daily routine. He once famously taught the Japanese ambassador how to play American football right inside the Oval Office. Imagine the scene, the President of the United States in his formal office demonstrating a tackle. He also took the German envoy out onto the White House lawn for a game of rugby. This wasn't just about fun and games. It was Roosevelt's unique way of connecting with people, breaking down barriers, and showing that he was a man of action, not just words. He believed that physical challenges built character, and he led by example. But don't mistake him for just a jock. Roosevelt's mind was as active as his body. He was a true Renaissance man. It's said that he read, on average, one book every single day. His interests were vast, ranging from history and biology to poetry and philosophy. He could quote Shakespeare from memory one moment and then head out to the lawn to practice his marksmanship, firing rifles with expert precision. He wrote dozens of books himself on topics as varied as naval history, ranching life, and naturalism. He was living proof that you didn't have to choose between being a scholar and being an athlete. You could be both. He embodied the ideal of a sound mind in a sound body. This constant need for a challenge was an unstoppable force. Eventually, doctors had to deliver some bad news. A stray punch during one of his many boxing matches had severely damaged his left eye, leaving him nearly blind in it. They told him, in no uncertain terms, that he had to stop boxing. Another blow could cost him his sight completely. For most people, that would be the end of their athletic career. But this was Theodore Roosevelt. Did he stop? Of course not. He simply adapted. If he couldn't box, he would find another challenge. So, what did he do? He hired a professional wrestling coach and learned the art of grappling instead. This perfectly captures his spirit. When one door closes, you don't just find another window, you build a whole new door. Even after his presidency, his thirst for adventure was unquenchable. At the age of 58, an age when most men are thinking about a quiet retirement, Roosevelt embarked on what was perhaps his most dangerous adventure yet. He set off to explore an uncharted river deep in the Amazon rainforest. This was not a guided tour. This was a perilous expedition into the unknown, a region known as the River of Doubt. The journey was brutal. His team faced hostile wildlife, relentless insects, and dwindling supplies. Roosevelt himself contracted a severe leg injury that became infected and then came down with a debilitating tropical fever. He was so ill that he became delirious, and at one point urged his team to leave him behind to die so they could save themselves. But his sheer willpower, the same willpower that had transformed him as a child, pulled him through. He refused to give up. He survived, and in the process, he and his team successfully mapped the entire river, which was over 1,500 kilometers long. In recognition of his incredible feat, the river was renamed the Rio Roosevelt in his honor. He had literally put his name on the map, not through political power, but through pure, raw courage and exploration. Theodore Roosevelt lived 100 lives in his 60 years. He pushed every day to its absolute limit. On January 6, 1919, he passed away peacefully in his sleep. Upon hearing the news, his son Archie telegraphed his siblings with a simple, poignant message: "The old lion is dead." When his contemporaries wrote his obituaries, one line stood out and perfectly encapsulated the man he was. It read, "Death had to take him in his sleep, for if he had been awake, there would have been a fight." What a life. A boy who refused to be defined by his illness. A president who led with both his mind and his muscles. An adventurer who stared death in the face and won. Theodore Roosevelt remains one of history's most fascinating and inspiring figures. A powerful reminder that the biggest limits we face are often the ones we place on ourselves. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this story of the strenuous life, please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more incredible stories from history. We'd love to have you as part of our community. See you in the next video.